Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Like, share, and subscribe. This podcast is sponsored by the following. Remington, made with pride in the USA. Iconic American impact. Wenig custom gun stocks. Head on down for your custom fitting. Remember, winners shoot Wenig. Shot Tracker, like having a coach on your barrel. For more info, go to takeaimtech.com. Life is too short to miss. RM Shooting Clinics, helping shooters from coast to coast. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. Zach Nanini at Northwestern Mutual. Trusted advice from someone you know. We believe in putting people first. Other supporters for Trap Talk. The Nevada State Trapshooting Association. Don't miss their 75th annual state shoot this October in Las Vegas. The NSTA puts on some great shoots, and they're going big for this year's state. Go to nvtrap.com to check out their program and all other shoots as well. The Utah State Trapshooting Association would like to invite you to the 109th annual state shoot this June 21st to the 25th at the Vernal Rod and Gun Club. Vernal holds the Western Grand, among other great shoots, and throws a world-class target. RV camping and fun side events make this a state shoot that you don't want to miss. More info at utahtrap.com. Welcome to another episode of Trap Talk. Today I've got my co-host Richard Marshall Jr. here, and we also have his son Tyler Marshall here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about recapping the Western Grand, the U.S. Open, and last episode we had Utah State Trapshooting Association on, and we talked a lot about setting some targets at Vernal, and we got a ton of emails and questions in the last weeks about what makes a target good, what makes a target bad, different presentation, and how do you adjust going from club to club. So we're going to spend a little bit of time focusing our efforts on that today. So welcome to the show, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, it's glad to be back. Are you guys still a little bit tired from that trip from Vernal?
Yes, we left yesterday about 4:30, I guess.
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, Tyler was in a shoot off for the junior handicap championship, and so we finally got out of there and we drove to Rock Springs, got some fuel, got a quick bite to eat, and then myself and Jody and Tyler was with Mitchell Pearson riding with him, and then Dave Mansell and Cody I were following us, and then Justin Debris and Wyatt and Amber and Barrett were following along. They were back a little bit because they had to go into town, but yeah, it was a long shoot, just to say the least.
When I heard about all the people that came from Nebraska, it was like there was a convoy coming back from Vernal to Lincoln, right? I mean, it's crazy how many people went there from your guys' area.
Yeah, there was quite a few people from Nebraska, a lot of kids. Aiden Dietering, Dylan Hanneman, Gavin Cook. Aiden and Dylan are from Iowa, but Gavin Cook's from right here in Lincoln. And then, of course, the Debris family, who we all travel with. Tyler and I travel a lot with them to shoots and stuff. So it was a good shoot for sure.
They're good people for sure. So what I want to know tonight is fill me in a little bit on how Vernal went, Western Grand. I've been there a bunch. I love the place, love the club, love Sean. It's a great, fun place to be. And I heard you guys both did really well. So that's awesome. So just fill me in on kind of who was the winners, who were the hot shots of the week, and what's going on with that.
Well, he started on Tuesday shooting the prelim day. I didn't. We were just doing a lot of stuff, and I was a little, tired from practicing on Sunday and Monday. No, I practiced a little, but it was my first shoot of the year. Not Tyler's. So, Tyler, how'd you do?
I won 5 trophies throughout the whole time. I started off pretty good. I had a 99 in singles, a 97 in handicap, and a 98 in doubles. So started off pretty good.
Is that your best doubles yet?
Yes, I think I tied it.
Yeah, he tied it. He broke a 98, I think, last year somewhere.
Yeah.
But he broke a 97 in the handicap, got a yard, punched back to the 24. And then the next handicap, you broke a 94 5.
Yeah,
Missed 3 on the last trap. He didn't want to talk to dad.
I was a little mad.
He was mad at himself because he was wanting that yardage. As you know, Zach, as a young kid, I mean, you grew up in this as a kid, so you understand. But he had some highs and lows. Thursday's handicap, as it was posted out by Krieghoff. It was a Krieghoff handicap, but Tyler and I tied with 99s, and that was kind of just an awesome deal for me to be able to shoot off against my son. And of course, at the end of the day, when the clouds went away and Daddy won, Tyler 0.
Well, hey,
I'll come for you next.
I can say this: I've shot off against Richard Marshall Jr. before and lost. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that lose shoot offs to Ricky all the time, but that's pretty fantastic. So, Tyler, I heard you went from the 23-yard line to the 26-yard line by the time the shoot was over. Was that correct?
Yeah, I got 3 yards. I had a 97, then a 99, and then
97, 95, 99.
89.
89. He struggled on Friday's handicap.
It was bad.
He shot with me. And he was really, he's like, Dad, because he got to shoot with his friends, Aiden and Dylan and Gavin. And then Dylan made the 27-yard line.
And that was on the
So then he was on 24, so he couldn't shoot with them anymore.
Yeah.
So then he had to, Dad was second choice. So, he came over to shoot.
And now you're filler material.
Exactly. So he had an 89 and it was a learning deal. Justin had 99 that day, missed his 88th. I had 98, missed my 82nd, 93rd in the rainstorm.
That was fun.
And then yesterday, the handicap championship, we went out. We had a little special event, Calcutta. And we bought Tyler, we bought Wyatt, we bought Justin. We bought quite a few shooters. And we just went out and started shooting. Tyler and Wyatt ran the first box. And I was like, okay, maybe they're onto something. So
maybe the racehorses will come in.
Exactly. Well, and I missed one and then went to the second box and I missed the first one out. And so it was a good event. Tyler ended up with 97. Wyatt had 98. I think Wyatt ran about 70 or 69 straight. Got a couple high targets. Vernal, Zach. It's like shooting 3 different gun clubs or 4 different gun clubs at times. And Wyatt ended up with an 8. Tyler and myself had 97s. Jerry Williams had a 96. And Justin, he struggled a little bit. He had a 90. But, anytime you keep a 9 in front of it in handicap,
100%. No. So, asking Tyler, you were at the 23-yard line. You got 3 yards really, really quickly. Were there changes and adjustments that you had to make moving back, or did it feel pretty natural to you? Or, what do you think you need to do when you're in that position? Because it's been a long time since I've been in that position. I don't remember really what I was doing back then. And I know there's a lot of shooters that are listening to our show that are getting yardage at shoot. So how did you go from 23 to 24 and then continue to punch back through the weekend?
I shoot high school trap, so I've always been fluctuating the way we do it. So it depends on your singles of the day. So whatever you shoot is divided by 2, and that's your yardage. So if you shoot a 50, you're on the 25. So I've always either shot from 25, 24, and 23. So I've kind of already learned how to shoot there. So nothing really has changed. I mean, if anything, just getting a little bit more in front of the targets on the angles, but that's about it.
Just on the front edge of the target.
Yeah,
so now let me interject here, Zach, for a second, that we didn't discuss. So we shot Thursday singles. Thursday was, so the way the Western Grain went this year, I don't know if you saw the program. Wednesday we shot 100 doubles, 100 handicap. And Thursday was 100 singles, 100 handicap. That was it. Friday was the class doubles, championship doubles, and then the prelim handicap. Okay.
Ideal program.
Exactly. Loved it. 300 singles, 400 doubles, 500 or 400 handicap, or 500 handicap, whatever. No, 400 handicap.
400.
Anyway, so Tyler, we're shooting the singles. Now Tyler shoots. He's left-handed because he's left eye dominant, but he's always had tape on his lens, and he's shooting along in the singles, and he's really struggling. I can watch him. He starts on 4. I start on 1. So I pay attention when he's on 4 and 5. And I'll look at him, and I'm watching his moves, and I'm like, something is not right. So I asked him. I said, "Son, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Dad, I'm looking at the tape." I'm like, "Why are you looking at your tape? Why aren't you looking at the target?" He goes, "Well, I'm trying, but I'm kind of like, it's like my left eye is trying to look at it too." And I said, "Well, no, well, your left eye too." And I go, he goes, "I'm going to try something." And I go, "What?" He goes, "Well, I did pull my lenses down a little bit, and my glasses, my Pillas, and I could see over the tape." I said, "Okay." So he shoots the third box, pulling his glasses down, looking over the tape, breaks 24. So I said, "Listen, let's just take that tape off." He's like, "Okay." So we take it off for the last trap. He misses the last target for a 24. And then we go right to the practice trap to shoot a handicap practice with 2 eyes. First time from the 24 yard line. He breaks 24, misses a third target. I said, "You're good. You see the target, just drive through it." "Okay, Dad." Goes out in the handicap, ties me, gets parted into my money because I played the money on him. Wasn't real happy about the money split, Zach, but you know.
Okay, I would just take it because you're a sponsor anyway, right? You just
Exactly. That's what, you know. It was funny as people were like, "What do you mean you just went to 2 eyes?" I said, "Well, that's what he did." Now, for all the listeners out there that are shooting 1 eye or taped, you can. Tyler's thing is up here, the mental deal, and he thought that he's left eye dominant, but he thought he needed to shoot that 1 eye to be, you know, tried to be exact. Take that tape off, and it's not something that Tyler's kind of the extreme or the unknown of it. Boom, he just went straight up, and that's why the 1 handicap he broke 89.
I think we need to touch on that. It's the mental barrier, right? So there's so many people that shoot with tape or with an eye closed or, you know, without. Now, that being said, I believe that you need to shoot on your strong side, as Rick just said. If you're a left eye dominant, you should probably shoot left-handed. If you're right eye dominant, you should probably shoot right-handed. Now, that being said, if you've been shooting on your right side your whole life and you're left eye dominant, well, you know, that's kind of a hard thing to shift, right? But so those would be the situations where I recommend the tape. But in situations where Tyler, he's a left-hand shooter, left eye dominant, the only thing that's stopping him from using 2 eyes is his brain. Because a lot of people want to see bead-bird relationship connection to the target. They want to see a really nice pattern come into the bird. They want to see a various amount of lead, a various amount of pull away, and they want to squeeze and shoot the target, right? I think that that's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you because you start aiming and you start trying to make that shot on that bird instead of just looking at the target and following it with your eye, where if a target hops up 3 or 4 feet, you're going to be able to follow it with your eye and break it. You know, as we know in vernal, sometimes you get some hoppers in the canyon. So I think if there's anybody listening that's shooting with 1 eye or shooting with tape that could be shooting 2 eyes on their dominant side, I think that's something they probably need to at least consider or try.
What I tell people to do is go out, set the target on straightaways, you know, and if you like, I don't know, maybe this tape will help me, take it off and just shoot. It's not something, a lot of people just don't pick it up right away. It's like, I always tell people, if your plateau's here with a 1 eye and you're breaking 20, 21, 22, once you go to 2 eyes, it goes up. Yeah. And now it's going to go down first. And then
sometimes you're going to have to take a couple steps backwards to take a couple steps forwards.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to, it's not always like Tyler's situation where he does it and he gets better. Sometimes it gets worse. And what I know is, you know, he's going to probably have some struggles getting to the 27-yard line. And then once you get there, you think you know everything, and then you got to relearn it again. So, you know, I've been relearning the 27-yard line for 20 years. So it's one of those things where you got it and then it goes away. And just
Yep.
because you're there doesn't mean it's always going to be there.
You know, one thing that helps Tyler is, of course, having his mom around. You know, she's the one that coaches him most of the time.
I would think so.
Yeah. No, it is. You know, Jody is his biggest supporter, his mom, along with me. You know, we didn't shoot together when he broke the 99, but I was on the first squad. I'd finished and I was done. And I looked down and he was getting ready to shoot his third box. And he looks up, he's like, "How'd you do?" And I was like, "I missed one, 99." So then I go down and I said, "Mama, how's he doing?" And she said, "He missed the 24th." And I go, "Okay." Oh, 25th,
Yeah.
excuse me. I go, "Okay." And she goes, "He's straight so far." And I was like, "All right."
So did you know Papa had the 9 when you went in and finished?
I couldn't see what he was doing. I only saw one, so I was like hoping it wasn't a 91. I was like, okay. I was like, I was
You're about to go from steak dinner to McDonald's.
yeah.
He just threw me on the bus. I hope it wasn't a 91.
I was like, man, I thought he was doing really good.
I shot
Ricky starts breaking 91s. We'll be eating bologna sandwiches instead of chicken.
Hey, I shot 400 handicap out there. Not only that's 9. I mean, I did break 2 7s and 8 and 9.
That's kind of like a 91.
Yeah, no,
Almost.
it was, but it was so cool. So going to that, you know, I've always thought, you know, when Tyler started shooting and shot with me, like last year, he shot most of the shoots. You know, he shot with you too, Zach, and it was, you know, like, it'd be cool to get a shoot off, and that was our first shoot off for a champion of an event. And when we went out, I'm standing there and I'm like, man, should I really even be out here? Because originally I told him, I said, "Hey, you're a junior, you need to take your category." Just messing with it. And Jody's like, she looked at me and she goes, "You know, he wants to shoot off." I said, "I know." So go out. This goes to our mental side, like we talked in the one episode. And we all do it. If people that are at the top of whatever game it is, race car, football, baseball, if they say they never think anything, they're full of crap. Okay. So I'm standing there and I was like, should I really be out here? And that's running through my mind as the gun's mounted and I go, "Oh,"
Lost.
and I'm like, "Dude, lost." And I'm like, "Okay, well, we don't know if you deserve to be out here." So Tyler smokes the first 5. I mean, literally 5 smoke balls. Now I broke a 4. We move. When I go to change, he looks at me and gives me the little grin. And I thought, okay. So
You see, you should learn something at a young age. You should leave sleeping dogs lie. Don't ever wake them up, okay? You wake up that big bad bastard, and he'll come after you. I've seen him do it. So you learned your first lesson of trap shooting. Don't taunt Ricky Marshall, okay? There's a few others.
It was funny. So I go over to post 3 and I break 5 and you missed 1 there.
Yeah, I missed my
And so
beat.
so when he walks by, I don't say anything. I give him a fist bump, you know, just stay in him. That's all I told him. Stay in him. And then we got over to 1. He got a high left and he short shot it. And I was like, okay, well, it's like my dad taught me when I was young. Getting a shoot off of someone, they let you back in, you step harder.
You have to.
Yeah. And
Yeah, you step on him.
Your son.
so Zach, when we went to the last post, you know, Tyler's left-handed, I'm right-handed. I could shoot left-handed though. And I said, "You want to switch guns?" And he goes, "Okay."
I can shoot his gun left-handed. I
But
mean,
he
we have the
can't shoot
same,
it right.
hey, we have the same length to pull. I mean,
So it was great. It was honestly, it was just as good or better than winning a grand ring, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty rare experience when you could have a father-son and a shoot-off co-champion on the same event at the same day. I mean, that I don't know how many times people have had that happen. I mean, there's only a few, I think, father-son or parent-child situation duos that could ever even have that opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, I've shot a lot with my dad, and we've won some 2 in the family stuff, but we've never actually shot at the same score and tied and went in a shoot-off together. At least I don't believe we have that I can remember. Maybe at like a local shoot or something like that back in the day, but not at a, not at a satellite. So I heard some other shooters did really well. I mean, I heard Sophie Nostrom broke 100 in the doubles. Is that correct? Or
Sophie got her first 100 in the doubles in the class doubles Friday morning because I missed 2 on the last post. And she's like, "How'd you do?" And I was like, "I almost tied you, but I missed 2 on the last post." Laughed. And then Aiden Dietering got his first 100 in the doubles.
Okay.
Gavin Cook from Lincoln, which I did lessons with Gavin in the past. Gavin broke the 100 in the handicap the first day from the 27 to get his grand slam, and he's 16 and a few months old.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome because he come to me, he's like, "Rick, how old were you got your grand slam?" And I go, "I was 15." And he's like, "Oh," I said, "No, I was 23." So I think Katie Jones broke her first 100 in the doubles. Was that her first 100?
It might
have been in the championship doubles. I shot off for the doubles, and Katie was in that, along with Jimmy Kennedy and Perry Weiner, and I ended up winning that. But I'm trying to think who else. There was a lot of firsts, a lot of milestones for people out there. Aiden also made the 27. Dylan Hanneman made the 27.
And then you said Gavin broke his first 100 for the 27.
Yeah, Gavin got his first 100 for the 27. So there was a lot of people making the 27, a lot of milestones.
For people to know this that are listening, the weather in Vernal this week was a little bit rainy, and so that just shows you the difference between a higher elevation target and a well set target, right? I think
you have both there too, Zach, with the elevation and the well set, as we talked about before. But we can go into that. But
we'll get into that later on in the show for sure. I mean, but that just shows you people come to Vernal because they want to be able to shoot something that they can break. And I think, as you can see, based on the success, a lot of people came and shot very, very well. So
yeah, it was a great shoot. For me, I ended up winning 10 trophies out there. I won a couple of the doubles events, of course, the championship doubles, the Krieghoff handicap. That was the handicap town I was tied in. And, of course, Krieghoff's one of my main sponsors. Great company, great gun, as Zach. So that was pretty cool to do that in that event. And then I won the doubles championship, which was presented by Fiocchi, which, my sponsor and Tyler's sponsor also. So that was cool. And then I won the all around in the overall. I won 3 gold coins, courtesy of Craig and Sharon Hart out of Vernal.
Great people.
And then Tyler, so 2 out of the last 3 years is the cornhole champion.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and he can play cornhole. There we go.
Yeah, hey, and it's a draw your partner deal. Right. And random pick. So Tyler had to beat my team.
He was the hardest, honestly. Everybody else, I beat like 21 to like 3 or 5. It was 19-18, and I think my partner tied with the lucky toss.
Yeah.
So it was
a great time. But Vernal has a lot to offer out there. So everybody out there, I think for next year, you guys ought to come out to Vernal to the Western Grand.
It's a great shoot. I missed going this year for sure, going to the U.S. Open, but I do love Vernal. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, so it was a good time. But like I said, Tyler shot well. Tyler's been shooting now. This is his second full year shooting. Last year he was first team sub junior, and it's good to have my youngest son shoot. My oldest boy Trey is. About everybody in the country that knows me knows Trey because he traveled with me since he was a baby.
I got called Trey this week.
Yeah, he got called Trey this week by a couple people, but I said no, he's got a full grown beard.
Yeah,
but Trey never really shot. He kind of wants to now a little bit. He's like, if I shoot, will you get me a Katie? So, but no, Tyler, he's traveling all summer with me, and we're gonna hit some more shoots, and so hopefully he can continue his success and get back to the 27, here soon. So
I think he'll do just fine.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So now let's recap the U.S. Open because I heard a little rumor that, well, and it wasn't really a rumor. I saw it on Facebook that you won the singles.
I did. I was very happy to do so. I had won it last year. Last year, myself, Keith Ditto, and Mike Westjohn broke 200s, and I was given a gift in the shoot-off last year with both Mike Westjohn and Keith Ditto missing in the first box, and winning the U.S. Open singles last year. And then this year, I going back to the mental side. Right that morning, I was thinking to myself, okay, you have an opportunity to go back-to-back run 200. And immediately I stopped myself and I said, Zach, you're not going to get there if you're thinking about that. And I started to go back and just live in the moment. And this week, I was fortunate enough to shoot with some good shooters. I shot with Ian Lawrence, with Keith Ditto, with Trey Wilburn, with Mike Dennis. And, I talked with Keith a little bit, and he's like, Zach, he says, when I'm shooting my best, I'm not looking backwards. I'm not looking forwards. I'm just trying to stay where I'm at. Yep. And, and that's something that stuck with me all week. And so I ended up breaking the 200. There was 9 of us that did it. One of those being Dagan Voigtman, obviously. And, going out to hit, he shot incredibly well. He broke 990 out of 1,000 in the overall. He broke 399 out of 400 in the all-around. He missed his 96th bird, so he almost just completed another 400 out of 400 in the weekend. And he won the doubles. He won the overall. He won the all-around. It was basically the Dagan Voigtman shoot. Okay. Now that being said,
the handicap. Did he win the handicap or no?
He lost the shoot off in the handicap. There was another short yarder that broke a 99, and they went out and shot off, and Dagan broke a 24, and I don't know the short yarder's name, but he broke a 25 and he won it. So, that being said, for the singles, it ended up taking 6 boxes to get down to me, Dagan, and Bill Tempest. He was a senior
William Tempest.
William Tempest.
Yep.
And
good guy.
He was a gentleman, and he was out there in 150 targets. He did not look shook at all. He was just pounding and going, and we're like, man, this guy ain't giving up, So we get to the 175th and last box.
The 7th box.
Bill missed on his last post. So, so he missed 22nd or 23rd bird, and me and Dagan both broke them. And when I get done, I'm walking back, and mind you, the U.S. Open, they shoot the 200 singles on Saturday, but then they shoot 100 handicap after it. So we shot the 200 singles, 100 handicap, and now we're 175 straight in the shoot off on top, which is 475 for the day. And I'm as tired as I've ever been. Dagan looks tired, but we both look at each other, and I look at him and I said, Dagan, you're not going to miss tonight, are you? And he says, no, but I really don't think you're going to miss either. And I said, well, we can keep doing this all night, or we can carry over to the doubles tomorrow. And he's like, Zach, he's like, why don't we both be champions? Why don't I take the junior gold and you take the open, and then we both get our points and, go from there. And I said, well, if you want to do that, I mean, I'm not going to vote against you on that ordeal, but
so is what you're telling me is you won by forfeiture.
I did. I
agree.
I did not beat Dagan Voigtman. I will say that we went 175 straight, and God bless him. He's like, Zach, you take this, I'll take that. And, I'm glad we didn't carry over, because if we would have carried over, the next morning, the doubles comes. I'm like, okay, I got this. I go out and I run 100 in the doubles. I'm 300 straight now in the all around. Ian Lawrence shooting on the same squad with me. He also runs 300 straight. I go to the clubhouse. Dagan Voigtman runs 300 straight. So now the 3 of us are going into the last 100 straight. And, I end up shooting 396. I run the first 48 birds out in the handicap, and I finally miss. Ian Lawrence misses in the first trap, but ends with a 98. So he has a 398. Gets to the clubhouse. Dagan's got 399. So it's just, all three of us shot well. I think Dagan shot exceptionally well. And what I can say about the U.S. Open is the attendance was way up. We're at a 5 now. 5 for this year, 5 for next year is what they're expecting, is what the ATA says. So I don't know. Now, it grandfathers in is what Lynn was telling me because of the U.S. Open.
For each year. Now, let me ask you a question. Those numbers, is that because I saw there was a big influx of shooters on the singles, is why the number, is that a youth deal? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I think
youth shooters.
There's a lot of youth shooters that come to that shoot for the whole weekend. So, I think that being said, that's a huge thing that they're taking advantage of is the youth programs to bump the numbers. We did not have like the viral numbers Wednesday to Friday on those types of events, but on the weekends, there was a lot of squads of people there shooting and competing. And like I said, we had 9 200s there. So it was a great shoot. It was well run, good point factor. And like I said, Dagan was a gentleman. He shot really, really well. There was I shot with Keith. Keith shot well also. It's always a pleasure to shoot with Keith and Ian Lawrence. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some other people that did some big things out there.
Shot with Trey Wilburn too.
Yeah, Trey. Yeah,
we gotta give a shout out to Trey. Trey's a good dude.
Shot with Trey. He's a great dude. We're looking to shoot together in Ohio. I seen Anna Raw shot some really good doubles down there. She's been stepping it up ever since Missouri. She's been getting a handle on it. I know she's
coming for you next year.
I can see it. She's breaking them. I think she had a couple 99s in the doubles down there, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a good time. Mike Dennis, a Team Remington guy, he ran all the singles until the last 100, and he finally missed one. So he had a 199 in the championship singles, but he was banging them pretty hard. So it was a fun shoot.
Elaborating a little bit more on Dagan. We had Dagan on the show. Here, what was that? It's been a little while since we've had
a couple months. I mean, he was one of our early guests.
Yeah. And Dagan, he broke the 400 at the Grand, first person to do that. I know Dagan, he practices a lot in Omaha at Harry Coke Gun Club, which my good buddy and past student Ryan Glow manages that club. And Ryan's like, oh yeah, he's up here practicing, 3 days a week and yada, 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 and that's, shout out to Dagan for doing that. Cause I always say you get out of it what you put in it.
I'd say watching him, he probably works as hard at it as anyone, and his process is very refined. He's very systematic, and I can say mentally, he's advanced in the game. I was really trying to focus on my tempo last week, and I was really trying to focus on keeping myself present. Like we talked about, the learnings from Missouri and the mental game and just keeping yourself focusing on what you're doing now. That helped. I did get to go have some fun on Sunday. I bought my mom tickets to go see Shania Twain in concert. So I wasn't able to stay and shoot off for the doubles or the handicap on Sunday, but Dagan won it anyway. So, I mean, it probably would have made a difference. So
you were, he wasn't giving that stuff up.
It is what it is. So, I figured I'd go see Shania and have a good time and enjoy my AAA overall, AAA all around and all that other stuff. So,
but now talking about, just stepping back for a second and talking about the mental part. So you've been shooting, how many years, Zach, have you been shooting now?
ATA 2004. So I'm coming up on my 20th registered year next year.
Almost 20 years. Okay. So your mental game's a little bit refined for singles and doubles. Handicap, we'll work on that for you.
Hey, I had a 7 and a 6, and cool. I was getting there. I'm getting there.
No, I'm just messing. But, you go to someone like, which a lot of our listeners, we get a lot of kids. I had a lot of people, and I'm sure you have lately. Of course, the shoots are ramping up, but I've had a lot of people come up and love the show, appreciate what you guys are doing, blah, 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 blah. We got Tyler on for the first part of this. I'm going to try to get some of the other kids that Tyler shot with and some other youth maybe to do just like a youth only episode and talk about, different stuff. But like Tyler, this is his second year. So quick question for him, and then we'll let him go, play PlayStation or talk to his
Fortnite
girlfriend
or whatever his kids do.
Yeah, whatever. Talk to his buddies because they all went to Kansas. So, so your mental side of the game, when you're out there shooting that handicap and breaking those scores, what are you thinking about? Is it stuff that I've taught you, or is it just little bits of stuff, different stuff that you're doing?
Well, there's two sides of it. I mean, stuff that I've learned from you as like, don't think about like breaking 99, 100. Think about hitting that one target that you're on. Also, I listen to music as well. So, I mean, I'm out there jamming. I mean, there's really like, I'm listening to music, making sure my head is not wandering, because if I start doing that, then it messes my game up. Like in high school when I can't wear
They can't shoot with music in high
Yeah,
school.
Yep.
They say it's a safety violation, which that's
it's the only
everybody's.
AirPods.
Yeah. So
But yeah, so and that's one thing, and I struggle with in high school trap. So, but I mean, just thinking about breaking that one target, just like you've always told me to.
go and Zach, you know this when you did lessons with me. It's one target at a time.
It is, but I think when people hear that, yeah, they're like, yeah, I know it's one target at a time. But when I'm going into the event, I'm thinking one target at a time. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking if I run this, I could win the overall. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking this is the Krieghoff handicap. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I just had a really good doubles yesterday, and now I need to have really good doubles today, right? So it's unpacking those thoughts in that time and recognizing, okay, I need to recognize those thoughts are real, first of all, and then I need to say, okay, what's going to help me achieve what it is I'm trying to achieve? Getting back on track to what I'm doing. And going to the music that Tyler talked about, I was actually getting pretty nervous because I'm fairly certain I've only been 300 straight one other time. So, run the singles, run the doubles going into the handicap. And it's been a while since that's happened for me. And I was getting a little nervous. And I actually remembered back when I was a kid, I used to kind of hum or just replay a song in my head. And that is kind of calming. I mean, just some type of consistent mantra or some type of a looping thing that can deaden the noise, because I think people try to have a quiet mind. The mind doesn't stay quiet. It's going to get noisy. As soon as you have a quiet mind, you're going to have something scream, well, what should I do on this next target? Or, oh, it's the 96th one. Or, oh, I'm about to win. Like you're going to hear, like Ricky says, you've got your angel and your devil, right? When it's quiet, you're going to hear something coming into your mind. And if you don't push other things into the mind at that point in time, you're not going to get rid of those negative thoughts. So I think we just got to push more positive on top and push more things that we can control on top and go from there. And it's not going to work every time, but it's going to work. It's going to work sometimes. And when it does, you're going to be happy with the results.
Everybody, for all the listeners out there, everybody's different. Everybody's mind works different. You just got to take it one target at a time and get in your own little thought process of thinking and in that calming aspect of, if it's listening to music, that's fine. Make sure you're listening with, I use, Odo Pros, the Phantoms, their quality ear protection. Yeah. You don't want, I'm not a big fan of the AirPods. It's not an ear protection. So, but you want to use something that's good, but everybody's different. So find what works, what calms you as you're shooting, and go with that.
And to piggy off of the one target, everybody thinks one target, but then we get to doubles and they think pairs, right? It's not pairs.
No,
it's individual targets.
First target, second target.
So like, I know a lot of people, they're thinking about this. I know it. And I've missed targets this way. I call pull and I'm already thinking about the second target before I've even shot the first target. I'm trying to bank time on the first target to get to the second target. I'm worried it's windy and that target's going to be up in the air or something like that. You really have to focus in doubles on the one target you're shooting. And only once I've pulled the trigger do I transfer my attention to the next bird. But as soon as you shoot, as soon as that gun goes off, I'm not thinking about that first bird, whether I hit it or missed it anymore. It's all of my energy onto the next bird. I mean, would you agree with that, Rick? I mean, do you think that's?
Oh yeah, I shoot and go. I shoot the first one, and then I'm looking for the second one. I go. You can't watch the first one break. Excuse me. So, yeah, it's energy here, energy there. You can't. That's one thing with
you
doubles.
Can't put energy on both, and I think people are trying to break the pair as one target. You know, you're trying to. Okay, I got to break a pair. No, you've got to break one, and only then you can focus on the other.
Exactly, and that's why, like with Tyler, you know, he switched to 2 eyes. His first doubles, he broke 85. He was like, I'm kind of, and then he come back in the championship, broke a pair of 47s, 94. I said, good. We just need to do a little more practice on the doubles, and you know, one target at a time with that. And that's where he was doing. He would miss the first bird a lot because he's worried about the pair.
I was seeing 2 targets, and I'm like, I kept seeing the side of my barrel. My eyes kept unfocusing. It was really new. So
yeah,
I mean, the first time I ever shot doubles with 2 eyes.
It takes time to get used to, but
exactly.
I have a feeling that you got a good teacher that'll help you out with that. So don't worry.
Yeah, my mom.
Hopefully. I'm just still waiting for that paycheck.
You ain't gonna see it. That's a bucket of money that you're gonna keep dumping into for years. So
trust me, I know. So we'll let Tyler go.
Hey, thanks for being on for Tyler, and you know, me and Pops are going to talk a little about some targets now. So
anybody you want to thank?
Well, I want to thank Fiocchi. They're an awesome company. I mean, Holly Hammond, she's just so sweet. She is so nice. Treats us both so well. I want to thank my dad being my coach. I mean, starting out wasn't so good. I mean, father, son, but we figured it out. We figured it out definitely, and it showed. So, and I also want to thank my mom, just being there, supporting me, carrying my bag when I need her.
Oh yeah, she carrying the bag. She said, "I'm gonna come back to shooting. He's gonna have to start carrying my bag." So, all right.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, bud. Get out. Move your chair.
So Rick, to finish up, last few minutes. I know this won't take us forever to go over, but to finish the show, the question on why I got a question. Why would one target be different at one gun club versus another gun club if everything is set to regulation, right? And I think there's a few variances that we have to consider. I mean, variance number 1 in my mind is elevation.
Yep.
Where we are in the country, right? That matters. Yep. And when people hear that, the air thickness, right? Humidity, that has to do with where you are in the country. Then you have to look at background. And what else are we talking, Rick? What else am I missing here?
There's a lot of stuff actually. How the machine is, you know, how it's set, all that. I mean, as you know, you go to Vernal, you know, Sean Hawley, I mean, he really works on the machines, you know.
Yes.
He's doing everything. He's sanding the arms, you know, he's doing a ton of different stuff, you know. So
that
makes a big difference.
For people just knowing, if I have a target in Vernal, Utah, and I have a target in St. Louis, Missouri, and I put them on a pat trap, and they're both going out at 42 miles an hour, that doesn't mean it's the same target.
No.
And the reason being is because there's other variables.
The height.
Height matters. Yeah. Now
you have the air.
There's a range.
Oh,
But then when we talk about density of air, if we have dense air in St. Louis, Missouri, that target is going to slow up quicker than in thin air, like Vernal, Utah, or Spanish Fork. That thin air is going to allow that target to cut through the air better. The other thing I think is the most important is spin on the target. So, so if a target is spinning, it's going to tear itself apart in a pattern, and it's going to fly more true. If a target's not spinning, it's not going to fly as true.
Yeah.
So, you know, 2 identical places throwing, you know, identical targets, just the difference of a target spinning off the arm or not spinning off the arm is going to make a huge difference in target presentation. The same way that you have rifling on a barrel that gets a bullet more accurate than if you're shooting a smooth bore.
Yeah.
The same concept.
Yeah, and it's like today, driving home, I actually got a call from Danny Ryan, who's on the handicap committee, and Danny was up shooting the Buckeye Classic at the Cardinal Center,
Ohio.
and yeah, and the curtain's down now. And I said, how's the targets? Well, he said, very good. He said I think they kind of realized, and I knew this. So I'm a trap shooter, I'm a shooting instructor, but I'm always aware of my surroundings. So, and I had a very good Cardinal Classic shoot last year, missing 11 out of 1,300 with the curtain. But people don't realize, I recognize the target coming to the house fast. Okay. So I know what it's doing. Vernal, same thing. I mean, targets they're bouncing around a little bit just because it was the weather conditions were up and down, windy, rainy, a little bit here and there. But with that curtain, you're getting a lot of air movement,
Correct.
pushback, all sorts
Correct.
of variables, turbulence. Where now he said, man, they went in and made sure everything was good. There's a little more face on the targets now. They can throw them a little higher, blah, blah, blah. But he said, south wind, north wind, they were consistent. You don't have that turbulence. Now, that's one thing. A lot of clubs, you'll see some of the clubs, they have a big ditch cut out in front. That causes
ditches,
roll.
valleys, flatlands, hills.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So in Vernal, it's a horseshoe gun club where the first couple traps you're shooting over a canyon, and then you're shooting over a flatland where the ground is flat. In Missouri MTA, there's parts where you're shooting over flatland, and there's parts where you're shooting and there's a little bit of a dip out in front of you, or there's a little creek or a little pond or something like that. I remember shooting in San Antonio when we went down to the second level. There was a pond on the right-hand side. I don't remember what bank it was, but if you drew that bank and there was a wind that day, you were going to have swirling doubles, because, I mean, that was the one bank where you're like, it was like crazy clays. I mean, those things would come out and they'd make a move. So I think people need to be aware of that, going from place to place to place in the country. And the only way to get better at it is go to more places. Because if you've shot California, that's a different target than Florida, and that's a different target than New York.
Yep.
And in New York, they're throwing more of a flat, like edge target, where in the West Coast, they're trying to throw more face. And I think, you go to Pocatello, Montana, and they're throwing it face up into the air. You could see that whole target, versus a lot of places on the East Coast are throwing lower with edge. All these targets are still set in regulation.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is the maintenance on your machines. That's one thing I will say about Vernal, Utah. You can blackball a target from the 27-yard line. Sean Hawley is out there sanding those arms, making sure the machines are good
in timing.
It's maintenance.
Yeah,
and taking pride in setting a good target. And not that not every gun club doesn't do that.
It's not that they don't, but a lot of people don't have the staff, infrastructure, time, or knowledge to maintain the machine.
Yep.
And Pat Trap makes a fabulous product, but when you've thrown 1 million targets on it, it's going to need some maintenance. It's going to need some TLC to give it the best target. And there's some banks where every once in a while, I mean, we've had it at Sparta where a couple you'd call pull and one sling out the side of the house.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that has to do with some type of a maintenance. Now, if it's throwing 1 out of 100 way outside the range, maybe a few that it's throwing that we're shooting at are a little bit in the range, but they're a little bit left or a little bit right?
Yeah.
Or maybe that doubles is slipping a little to the left, to the right every time. And I think another one that's really important that people need to pay attention to is loaders in the house. I mean, you have something in the house.
Noticed. That's one thing I'll touch on real quick. They have a lot of kids out at Vernal, as you know, and we had one machine that we were getting some broken targets, and that was the kid. This way they were hot loading, okay?
Hot loading.
And if you bump that machine a little bit as it's spinning, it can cause it to jar and break a target. So a little bit of that makes a difference. The thing I will say is setting a target. Sean out there sets a target about 9 foot high, just say, it's one of those things, as you know, Zach, we've shot a lot together.
Yep.
I don't reset trap machines hardly at all.
We don't. I mean, the only time we've ever said something that I've been with you is when there's a broken machine or there's something that's like a target, like you're throwing a pair of doubles and it's coming out the side of the house and you're like, okay, this is absolutely completely broken. It's not even close to the line. It's not even close to anything. Yeah. But as far as height, I mean, we shot the whole US Open. We never, me, Keith, and the group, we never changed one trap. There was days where they were a little high and there was days where they were a little low, but we never changed a trap because they were within the range of what it needs to be. And I almost feel as if, if you have good setting department team and you go in and you set the targets at the beginning of the day, I almost feel as if you shouldn't be allowed to reset the targets unless the management comes out and resets the whole line because of weather or something changes. Because I feel like,
or they're illegal.
They're illegal. I feel like if we're in the zone, you shouldn't be able to say, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make a higher target because that's what I prefer, or a lower target because that's what I prefer. And wind that's changing constantly, I mean, you can mess up a target more than you can help it if the wind's changing constantly. I've seen people, we were there and we had a trap. After we got done, we watched a group and it was windy and they were a little high and they lowered them. But then when the wind stopped in the middle of their round, they were 5 foot target, right? So, and vice versa when you set them the other way. So I think, that's something that I don't know if we'll ever get right in the ATA, because I know they want to make a target to fit everyone's desires and what they say is good in the air. But
as you remember, Zach, our episode with Steve Carmichael.
Yep.
We touched base on it a little bit, and and I was fortunate. I got to shoot Carmichael's club years ago. When he went out, they set the targets. If you wanted him looked at, he'd come check. He'd look at him and be like, shoot him. That's what we did. And that's what I think is resetting them to your preference should not be allowed, in my opinion.
It changes the whole shoot, right? Yes. It changes the whole shoot. I know there's a target that I like to see that if I see it, I'm going to eat it up. And if I'm going to go and I'm going to set every trap to fit that mold, my scores are going to be a lot higher than if I just shoot whatever's there, because there's clubs that throw targets on the higher side. There's clubs that throw targets on the lower side. There's clubs that throw on the higher end of speed, and there's clubs that throw on the lower end of speed.
Well, and that's all
one of the things. Legal range, like it's all in range. It's all ATA legal, but that's a difference between, here and there. And, I think, like I said earlier, the only way you're going to know is by doing it and shooting it and learning, right? Just going and figuring out what works best for you.
That's why I don't usually change any targets. Occasionally, we had a squad in front of us in the singles that the wind was bad, and up on one, which you're at the highest part there, kind of shooting north west, and they were like, "Oh, they're super high. We're lowering them." I said, "Guys, that wind's going to die down." And my squad was me, Jerry Williams, Wyatt Debris, Tyler, and Justin, and Jerry goes, "You know what's going to happen?" I said, "Oh yeah." We got out there. They had lowered them. We got out there to shoot about halfway through. We went from going like this to like this.
Yep.
We broke them. We walked off. The squad behind us is like, "Why didn't you change them?" I'm like, "Hey, if
I'm going to have one that I'm going to shoot, I'd rather have it on the lower side than the higher side for me, because I don't have to move. But that's my preference, right?
You lazy.
Don't be lazy. But I mean, like I said, it is what it is. Yeah. I think, there's definitely easier targets to break in some places, but that has to do with visibility as much as anything else. And here's another phenomenon that you might encounter over the years, white flyer, Euro target, other things, different pitch, different mixture, different recipe, different batch, all going to smoke a little different at some level. I've seen that happen from place to place to place, and various humidities and temperatures across the country.
Well, as you know, the best targets out there or white flag.
Hey, that's why I got the hat on.
Hands down, nothing else even comes close.
That's why I got the hat on. But that being said, you know, that is a different varying factor. I mean,
different clubs throw, you know, like I said, it all comes down to maintenance. And so for everybody, you know, why is some different here? Why is some different there? You know, it's got a lot to do where you're at, how the area is, how they're set, you know, height. If there a tree background, is there an area where wind could funnel into or reflect off of that? You know, as you know, I grew up here in Nebraska shooting and most of our background is open. So you don't get a lot of deflection.
Yep.
So, you know, you could shoot in 40-mile-an-hour winds.
So, and just to let people know that are very analytical, because I know there's people out here that are probably like engineer mindset where, you know, everything needs to make sense or they need to see the shot. I know some people that I've taught that have been engineers, and they're like, okay, when I shoot a hard right on 16-yard line, post 5, I see 1 inch of lead and I shoot. And that's every time 1 inch of lead. That might be on that target at that place, but it's not going to be that way everywhere you go. And I think that if you're focusing on looking at the target and learning how to move to the target and match your body's speed to the target, my body naturally is going to adjust to what I'm shooting. And that's the secret of being a good shooter, I think, is, okay, these are slower, my moves are slower. Okay, these are faster, my moves are faster. But I'm not changing lead or distance or anything like that. I'm just driving to the target with more authority if I have a heavier set target. Would you agree with that, Rick? I mean, you're just if you've got a hot, heavy target, are you just charging a little harder? Is that all it is?
I match the speed of the target with my gun barrel. So I match my gun barrel speed with the target speed and go. And that's how I've always shot. And I drive through. So we could be throwing the AJ regulations are like 42 to 44 mile an hour.
42 to 44 on a single. And then we've got 39 to 41 on a double.
Yeah. So honestly, on singles and handicap, if they throw a 50-mile-an-hour target, I'm moving. It's something in, you know, that
I think you just said a mouthful that a lot of people probably just glanced right over and didn't notice. You move the barrel at the speed of the target.
Yep.
So when you have a hard right come out of the side of the house or a hard left come out the side of the house and you're behind it, you're not throwing the gun over there at 90 miles an hour to catch a 45-mile-an-hour target. You're matching speed and coming through with that same speed. And I think what a lot of people do, especially on the corners, is they get beat either visually, mentally, physically, whatever, and then they're tossing the gun as hard as possible to make up that distance. That's the worst thing you can do, because as soon as you get out in front on that target, you're going to stop the gun and shoot behind or inevitably miss, right? I mean,
you usually do a jab move or something like that. It's usually what happens. So
it's that hand speed or that body movement speed into the bird that needs to be consistent at some level. And if you can dial it in with the targets, I mean, like I said, I was watching Dagan all last week, and it looked like his barrel was just riding with that target the whole time. And it was very smooth and there was no rush. If he got that target that was outside on the edge, he just went boom. He just went over there and killed it, you know? So I don't know if there's anything else we're missing there to cover it any more in detail, but like I said, I had like 5 people ask questions about that, and I thought we could spend some time on it and just get it covered today. But is there anything we're missing on that, or do you think we've talked it?
No, I think we're good. And any other questions people got, you know, just send them in. You know, we can discuss it. I know you and I got a busy schedule here coming up. You're heading to Kansas State shoot.
I'm going to Kansas
down there,
tomorrow.
Whoop up on Bud. So
I'm going to Kansas tomorrow. Then we got a week off. We're going to do some episode shooting. We've got some good people set up to interview, and then we've got Ohio. So that being said, this is the busy time of the year for us, and we just want to keep you guys updated with what's going on. If you're not able to go to the shoots, and so you can plan what you're going to go to next year. But we've enjoyed this a lot, and it's a lot of fun. So, well, Rick.
Oh yeah, you're heading to Kansas. I'm heading to Pennsylvania, and we'll probably shoot an episode while I'm out there. in PA because I did purchase the Starlink, and that is the awesome internet for everybody that wants to
It's very good.
have it on the road.
It's
Yeah,
very
so-
good.
And then we'll be at Ohio together. So
So is there anything else I'm missing, Rick?
no, I think we're good. I think we both had a good week. You got a lot of points. I don't know how many points I got. I didn't figure them yet. I know I won some gold coins and a little bit of money. So
You did
That,
good.
you know.
Hey, I'm proud of you. Everybody knows you're Ricky
You
Marshall.
too.
Trust me.
you know what? I'm proud of you, Zach. You shot well. You know, I'm proud of my whole squad. They all shot well. You know, Wyatt, Justin, Tyler, Jerry Williams won a lot.
You
Mitchell
broke
Pearson,
another 100 in doubles. I
also,
seen that.
you know. Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah, Jerry, side by side with me. He run
I
the
see-
last 150 that day. So
I seen that. I was so
Yeah.
happy for him. So, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I would like to thank our show sponsors, Remington, obviously, for being with us from day one. Wenig Stockworks for making a great product that me and Ricky utilize. Shot Tracker, obviously.
Yep.
We did an episode with those guys. They're doing great things. We've got
Yep.
RM Shooting Clinics always here. Ricky's going to take your game to the next level. And then your financial advisor, Zach Danini, your host, one and only, ready to talk to you whenever you need me. So if you need me right now, you're probably going to need to call me while I'm on the road or talk to my secretary. So I hope you're having a great day, and we'll talk to you guys again next Friday.
absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in to Trap Talk.